Hi, my name is Consquilla, and I am a member of ZetaPhiBeta Sorority Incorporated. But I'm also the mom of a young man with autism. So I'm going to share my journey with you. Daquan was born August 21st, 1994. When Daquan was born, he was a premature baby, so he was 2.5 pounds, and he came at 27 weeks. So when he was born, he stayed in the NICU for almost 3 months. Daquan came home from the hospital, and he was delayed the whole time he was an infant. So we thought, okay, he's delayed because he's a preemie. Fast forward, he's 1. He was not able to walk. He couldn't talk. He couldn't crawl or anything. So I was referred to Kennedy Krieger. So at 18 months at Kennedy Krieger, he was diagnosed as mild mental retardation, because at that time they wasn't using autism as a diagnosis. That wasn't a word I had even heard of then. And then he also was diagnosed with a developmental delay. This was really hard on me because at this time I was in beauty school and trying to take care of an infant and a toddler, because I was a teen mom. I had him my senior year of high school. So it was difficult trying to figure out, how do I care for my baby? Because daycare centers didn't even really want to keep him because of all of the issues he had. So I had to have a family member take care of him when I went to work in school. So fast forward into his toddler life, he still was delayed. And when he went to kindergarten, he failed kindergarten. So I said, well, how can he fail kindergarten? And at first I thought it was because he went to a Catholic school. And I said, well, maybe he needs to be in a public school where they have more services. So I moved him to Baltimore City public schools, and they still retained him from kindergarten because when they tested him, he was very delayed. On top of him being delayed, the social skills were very behind. He didn't socialize with other children. Now, we have a really large family, so he's always around other kids and around other people, but he always stayed in his shell and stayed to himself, and I just didn't know what was wrong. So every school year, it was complicated because most of the teachers, they did not know how to accommodate him. He had an IEP, he had a 504. But mind you, all of this is new in the school system in the early 2000s. People still wasn't kind of caught up to how do you handle a child with this type of disability in a regular classroom, with inclusions. They just didn't understand it. Sometimes teachers would say things like, oh, he's lazy, he just don't want to do his work. He couldn't grip a pencil. So he was in first grade and he still could not properly grip a pencil or write. So time moved on. And then when Daquan was further up in elementary school, he found his first love, and which was music. He started playing the viola. So we had a child who couldn't read on grade level, couldn't do math on grade level, but he played this instrument and he was amazing. So then his teachers would say, well, if he can play that instrument, he can do this math. There are two different things. If you know about children on the spectrum, they sometimes can have a very special gift and can be extremely talented in that gift. But when it comes to doing everyday things like making up his bed, he has a hard time, even now, putting a fitted sheet. His fine motor skills still are behind at 28. So even when he ties his shoe, he ties his shoe different than the average adult would tie, well, the average person, period, would tie their shoe. So he really excelled in music. Then he moved into middle school, and it became a big problem with him keeping up in class, until one time I homeschooled him because I got so frustrated. So every school year, we went into the situation with teachers comparing his music skill to his academic skill. And they would just say, oh, he's so lazy. There's no reason why he can't do this work. So I put him in therapy, and therapy was very helpful. So he started therapy to help him out, to try to help him cope, because as he became a teenager, it became very hard for him to say, well, I don't have any friends. So when he go to school, everyone would be in their group and they would hang out. Even within music, he still would be to himself. So some people say, well, how do you do it? How do you work full-time? How do you run a business? How did you go to college and get 2 degrees while raising a child with a disability? So the way that I found it to work for me in coping was to put him in an activity. And what I did to help Daquan develop his skill, I first started out with the drums. He didn't like the drums. Then, of course, swimming is a life skill. I put him in swimming. So every 3 to 4 months, I would try something different. And that kept him busy because he didn't go outside and play. He doesn't like sports. So as we kept trying things, that's when he picked up the instrument and he loved it. So his high school years were very hard. So he went to the Baltimore School for the Arts for 3 years. Academically, he struggled so bad to the point where he was frustrated. I was frustrated. His teachers didn't know how to accommodate him. But again, he had all A's in music, but he would fail every year because he would fail math, he would fail English and the general requirements. So this went on. So every summer he had to go to summer school. So I just kept saying, what do I do to figure it out? And I just didn't know. So then he went to see another doctor when he was a teenager. And that doctor said, well, it's Asperger's. So we still don't have all of the answers, but what I want to say to any mom with a child with a disability, especially autism, go to a team of doctors who specialize in it, because Kennedy Krieger really made a difference with my son. And then therapy, he was referred for therapy. That helped us get through it. And by him finding his love in music, the music is his therapy. So with the music, he's able to cope better. So moving forward into his adult life, he wanted to go to college, but academically, of course, he struggled. It was very hard for us to find that perfect school for him. He started out at community college. Again, academically, he struggled. And then we finally found the perfect school. He's at Virginia State University now, at HBCU in Virginia, and they really accommodate him. And he plays in the orchestra. And he's been playing the orchestra for years, but this orchestra is just something different about it. Everyone really accommodate him, and not that someone wants a pity party, but they make sure he's okay. So it's best to put your child in the best environment that you can. And I just want to say to all the moms with kids who have autism, don't give up and look for something that could make your child active and happy. Get therapy, have a team around you that's supportive. And also, moms and dads, you get therapy too, because I'm no stranger to therapy. And I just want to share my son with you and his talent and let you guys see that music or whatever extracurricular activity can be hope for autism and helping your children grow if they have a developmental disability or autism. Thanks.